Will she truly bring honor to us all? And will Luffy even care? Hey guys, we're going to be talking about everything from Disney Mulan to One Piece to Naruto. I don't know anything about Naruto. We're about Turning Red, Shanghai Noon. It's going to be a blast, guys. I can't wait for today's episode. This is part of our companion series to our main series. Our main series this year is religions in our fandom, and as our companion series, we're just going through specific religions in real world to see where they have shown up or themes from them have shown up in different fandoms. So we did Buddhism in January. We talked about Taoism last month. Today we're going to be talking about where we see Confucianism in some of our favorite fandoms. And this goes live straight to our patrons first. So only patrons can join us live. And then later, it'll go up on our YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you're like, man, I wish I was part of the conversation so I could tell Josh how stupid he was for never watching Naruto. Guess what? You could be part of the conversation next time to tell me how dumb I am about the next thing. You just got to join Patreon. Because there will be something else I'm dumb about. It happens approximately, I think, every 30 seconds.
Yes.
Something like that. Yeah.
Give or take 5 seconds.
All right. So with that, I'm Joshua Knoll, and I am here with the one and only Elizabeth Pangling Clyde.
Why did you hesitate so much just now?
I couldn't remember your last name. I was going to say Clyde's, and I'm like, it's not Clyde's. And then I was like, Clydesdale. Nope. Clyde.
Clyde. Singular today.
Yes. Yeah.
Hello.
But if you do want to see the Clydes, you can check out their show as well on YouTube and Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. You know, it's good stuff. That's not today's episode. Today, We're not interviewing her about her other podcast. Today, we're here to talk about Confucianism. But before we do, what have you been geeking out on lately?
So I decided I'm going to finish my sleeve. So I've just been looking at a lot of tattoos ideas. So my sleeve will be done next month. It's this spot right
Kung
here
Fu
for the
Panda.
YouTube. No, not Avatar.
That works too.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do like the 4 symbols of Avatar here, and then I'm just gonna fill it with like more cherry blossoms.
And some more of the blue people.
The blue people?
Avatar.
Oh no, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Silly.
I know.
Yeah, and it's not because of the live action. It's just it happened.
Yeah.
So,
how you feel about live action? Have you seen it?
I have not. I've heard it was subpar. I wasn't anticipating great things, so I'll watch it eventually.
I would say anticipate great things. Just don't anticipate it to be exactly like the cartoon. It was pretty great, though.
No, I wouldn't anticipate that. I just wasn't excited like the One Piece live action. Have you watched that yet?
Yeah, that's different.
Beautiful. No, yeah, different. I was. Oh man, it was probably one of the best days of my life.
Yeah, that was fantastic. The Avatar was good, just in different ways, and they took some creative, whatever.
But we're not talking about that. Yeah, but not right now.
Yeah, but we're going to first kick this thing off with first, do we thank our patrons yet? Have I thanked them?
Yes, you did.
They're awesome
because they get to have first
they
dibs.
Are awesome. Yeah,
they are.
Okay. Well, the first question we're actually going to ask: what is religion? We've done a couple of these, and I actually feel like it's an important thing to kind of frame some of these conversations of like, how do you even define religion? If you go to college and you take a religion 101, you'll quickly find that you have no idea how to define religion.
Everyone will define it differently.
Yeah. Well, and what was interesting is when I took my class, the professor had everybody write down a definition or whatever, and he threw up some of the definitions without the names attached, and was like, okay, so one person was like a belief about the afterlife. He was like, okay, threw that up and goes, okay, so with this, Confucianism is not a religion. Does everybody agree? A lot of people didn't want to agree to that. And then, one person was like, a belief in some kind of God. He's like, okay, so Taoism, Confucianism, Buddhism, none of those are religions. Nobody wanted to agree with it, right? So, like, it becomes increasingly difficult. It's like one of those things where, like, a lot of people, like, it when you see it, but that's not a terribly great way to go at it, right?
But even then, people confuse religion with philosophy. And so talking about, like, Confucius and all that stuff, he was a philosopher. And so people don't really worship him per se.
Yeah. I think for me, what I would think any definition that I would prefer, and we're just trying to define religion, is going to do something that includes the sacred, right? So each of these different groups will have something they consider sacred, even if it's not a god or the afterlife. So, like Buddhism, the sacred is this idea of an attachment, right? And with Confucius, the sacred is family, it's community, it's the ancestor spirits. So even though it might not be a religion the way that we think of it as people who grew up in the West, I think when you have a definition that defines something that revolves around that, I mean, I'm still not giving a good definition. I'm just kind of saying I feel like that gets closer to what we typically mean when we say religion.
That, and I feel like it has to be a little systemized too. So even if you just wanted to do like a systematic belief of something, not even of something divine.
Yeah, yeah. I think systems and I think the sacred. Those are two important elements. Yeah. And even system is hard because especially when you get to like your Eastern cultures, when we're talking like Chinese, Japanese cultures, you can pick and choose. Like Taoism, part of the thing isn't like a sacred text that we believe every single word in here. They're like, yeah, you could pick which parts you like, which you don't like, and they kind of usually you don't have someone in China who's like, I am a Taoist. It's they have stuff they believe from Taoism, stuff they believe from Confucianism, stuff they take from Buddhism, and it all kind of meshes together. So it's not a this or that kind of
Well, but
situation.
then again, we wouldn't say that was me personally. I wouldn't say that's a religion. That's just a belief or like a. So I feel like it really needs to be systematized to be a religion.
Okay.
Like there's usually rules or some kind of like guidelines for a religion to be a religion,
I
in my
would
opinion.
disagree, but
Okay.
I understand where you're coming from.
Mhm.
Yeah. I just think that to me, just because that's not really a part of your Eastern religions, it seems not genuine to say that they don't count as real religions because they don't have that.
Well, I'm saying, but like you just said, like someone will take a little bit of this, sprinkle a little bit of that, and I mean that's still their beliefs, but I wouldn't say that's a religion per se. Like you can
So,
still have beliefs, but like what makes a religion? First, let's think, is religion a
okay.
noun? Is it a verb? Is it a like what would you even
According to
describe?
James, true religion is
Mhm.
taking care of the orphans and widow. I also, like to say, I think that's a terrible definition because that doesn't involve any kind of God or system or I get what he's saying, but it's just funny. Um,
It's a
I don't know.
relationship, not a religion, Josh.
Yeah, yeah. I hate that so much. Um, religion's not a bad word, also, but I don't know. I find it difficult because I see where you're coming from, but also if I were to meet someone who they believe in the Tao, but they also adhere to the ways of Confucius and, they worship their ancestors and they also think that Jesus is God, I might not be like, oh, yeah, that's a religion, but I would also have a hard time saying that person isn't religious, if that makes sense.
I would say they just have a lot of beliefs and they might be a little Confucius themselves.
Confucius.
Yeah, that was a pun.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but that is the typical standard. So most of the people who are part of these religions don't think of it as you only have this religion. They think of it as you take some of this and also some of the other things. So none of the people, very few of the people who follow any of these religions think of it as this is the only way kind of thing, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Which is hard to wrap my mind around personally because that's just not the world that I've experienced. But I mentioned the element of sacred. So I think a lot of the times when we talk about these other things, it's important to think of the sacred because I think that helps make some of the distinctions. The whole reason I brought this up. So when we talk about Confucianism, four main things we're going to look at today. And of course, just like if someone was like, hey, give me four main things of Christianity, and someone gave you four things, any Christian's going to be like, okay, but you forgot this, this, and that. Or, oh, it's way more complicated than that. You can't just say God is love. It means all these other things. Well, that's the same case for all the religions. So just take a chill pill. We're going to do our best we can, but remember that four small things is not going to encompass every belief that they have.
This is just two dumb people
Yeah,
chit-chatting.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That.
that's pretty much it.
um, so in Confucianism, yeah, that's a word. Um, there's the four main things we're going to look at. They have kind of like an ancestral worship, not like they think of their ancestors as gods, but more as like they believe in a strong thing. They keep
They
it as
honor the
sacred to
past.
honor the past and honor
Mhm.
the dead. Yeah, that's a sacred thing to honor the dead. Whereas in Christianity, we might still think as Christians it's important to honor the dead, but that's not a sacred thing to us, if that makes sense. So that's part of how I would draw that distinction. Like, I'm still going to honor my grandfather's passing. It's not just like a, but that's not a part of my
You're
religion.
not gonna go pray to them
Yeah, yeah.
and pray for
So
their like guidance and protections.
exactly. Um, so that's an important part. Some of the other ones is going to be um, communal, like the communal harmony is kind of a big part of Confucianism. Is kind of everybody getting along, learning to play your role. What is your role in society? And then their version of heaven. If you see heaven used in Confucius language, it's not talking about an afterlife. In fact, Confucian himself was pretty adamant that thinking about an afterlife at all was dumb. Like, he just straight up said we should not think about afterlives. It's not important. But he did use the word heaven, but he typically, when he said heaven, was referring to this idea of fully realizing yourself. So that's going to come up a lot in some of the fandoms we talked about today. What does it really mean to understand who you are? Okay. Anything else to add with what is religion and what is sacred and what is Confucianism?
What is no?
All right. Well then, let's I'm going to start this off with something we talked about when we talked about Taoism. Um, we talked about Kung Fu Panda last time. There was a conversation with Master. Well, let me make sure I'm getting the names right. I think it's Shinfu and Ugui. Yeah, Shifu Ugui. I don't know how to say them. To me, the little raccoon-looking thing and the big turtle. That's how I think of them.
Got it.
Ugui representing some of that Taoist thought of everyone has to find their own way, and you nurture what is, and you nurture who you are, and you just kind of go with the flow and the way. That's very much Taoism. Shifu was representing a lot more of that Confucius idea of, well, I can control. I can control when the seeds fall from this tree. I can control where they are planted. That was his part of the argument, which of course Uguay responded with, yeah, but whatever you plant it, whatever you do, it's going to grow to be a peach tree. It's not going to grow to be an apple tree or an orange tree. It's a peach tree. And you got to learn to respect it as a peach tree. And that's kind of the, I was going to say yin yang, but I feel like that's a bad pun here. That's kind of the push and pull between these two different religions that both exist in a lot of Chinese culture. Taoism is, hey, it's a peach tree. Nurture it as a peach tree. Love it for a peach tree. And Confucianism is we're going to control where it falls, where it grows, and how it contributes to society. So it's a lot more structured, a lot more systemized. Maybe a lot more of a religion, you'd say? I don't know.
Hmm.
Not sure about that.
Philosophy.
I mean, it's more systemized than anything. Yeah, but yeah, Confucianism, Taoism, and Buddhism. There's a lot of arguments that it is just a philosophy and not a religion. I disagree with those. I still think they're a religion, even though they're different than Western religions. But it's fine. So that was that part of Kung Fu Panda and where you see it. And even I would say, if you follow it, you learn that Poe. Trying to remember the main character's name. Poe is a panda, and he figures out how to do kung fu and be the dragon lord as a panda and live into his true self, which again, that idea of true self goes back to Confucianism, where he really discovered himself. And that's where you can kind of see the Taoist and the Confucius thoughts kind of coexisting there, where the Taoist was, he's a panda, let him be a panda. And the Confucius thought, well, he has a role he has to play as the dragon lord, and we need him to fit that role. But then also you see where once he realized his true self, that is the Confucian, heaven idea. So you kind of get a little bit of both there. All right.
You get the best of both worlds. Okay, go ahead.
I think that is the Taoist and Confucius song. Everyone should be required. All right, here we go. You know what's next.
You'll bring honor to us all. I can start quoting all of Mulan right now.
I feel like this should be the most obvious, where you see some of these Confucius ideas of ancestor worship, of bringing honor to your family, your community,
having the roles,
your role.
Yep.
Yeah, your roles, even discovering your true self. Like all of it is really clear in this movie. Payne, could you take it over? Just talk about like where you see our themes that we're talking about in the movie Mulan.
Yeah, so they really only talk about their ancestors as a form of worship. And so, as you mentioned before, there's so many different avenues of worship that these cultures could choose, but Mulan really just talks about the ancestors, and not even as a I wouldn't say they're doing it as sacred, like you mentioned. It's more of like honoring and asking for their protection and guidance and to lead them. But yeah, that's a big one, and also the the guardians are a big one as well, like Mushu. We love that.
Mm,
We love that
yeah.
dragon.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out with like the Guardians, is that come from like Confucianism or is that more like Shintoism?
I think that's not Confucianism, but I think it's just more of like almost like the is Shintoism the one where they're like really in tune with like the animals and nature and whatnot?
Yeah, that's why one thing I find interesting. We're going to see this again when we talk about turning red later on. But so Shintoism is primarily a Japanese religion, and it's very much like the animals we're worshiping, like
Mhm.
those kind of the animal spirits. Not maybe not worship isn't the right word, but being respectful to and engaging with that kind of idea. But and a lot of times you see that in Confucianism with like ancestor worship together in our Asian or Western made Asian films. If that
Well, because they
yeah
also a lot of things people will believe in reincarnation and they can get reincarnated into a plant or reincarnated into an animal, or they might have been a sparrow in their past life. So you
yeah.
add all that into it as well. So we are one
See,
with the earth and vice versa.
but I don't even know where that comes from in this because that's not a Confucius belief either.
No, it's not. I'm just saying there's so many
But yeah,
different
there is a lot of like
choices.
yeah, yeah. I'm just confused on how the Guardians happen. But I think it's the important thing is that we have Mushu.
Yes.
Yeah,
Eddie
and we have him.
Murphy.
Yeah, that's
Love that
important.
guy. That's so important. But if we think about it, just a little off topic, this 90s cartoon is so offensive.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm just it's so gosh, I lost my train of thought. But with the as far as the Guardians, it's they don't pray to the Guardians. They're almost like I would almost think if you're looking at because some Chinese cultures they do believe in the chi and the like supernatural like that. It's almost like they're familiars, if you will. Like the Guardians are there to serve and protect them,
Mhm.
which is a
Yeah.
thought. Just how they get into a play. What else is Mulan? If you watch Mulan 2, Yin and Yang come in to play as well. Specifically the dark into light, the give and pull, as you were saying. So those
Mhm.
are all the things that pop off at the top of my head. Of course, finding your place in the community. She has a role to play. Um,
Mhm.
Faju says, I know my place. It's time that you learn yours. She runs away crying. So sad.
Yeah, and I think that was what was what's interesting is again I honestly I kind of think that Western people just don't like Confucianism. Because, like, so you see in Kung Fu Panda, where it's like Taoism good, Confucianism bad, because it's trying to make him be something he's not. And then here we have her role as a woman is this. We don't like that. You have, the man is supposed to be going to war, but she goes instead. And it's like very much like breaking the roles. But
Mm-hmm.
also, you see in the end where she discovers her true self again. So that goes to that other aspect of Confucianism, I feel like.
Yeah, Mulan's just a bad booty. The Disney princess that did not need a man to save her. She became a princess through heroism.
For the record, she never became a princess.
No, by Disney standard, even though I disagree with it, I disagree. She is technically a Disney princess, and I
Yeah,
disagree.
I also disagree. My disagreement is because in order for me to truly consider someone a princess, they have to be one of the seven hearts of light in the Kingdom Hearts franchise, and she was not. So,
No, she was not. She did not marry a prince, and she was not born of a king, so she is not a princess. In
and
my
she doesn't possess one of the seven hearts of
that.
light.
All right, moving on.
Okay, One Piece. It's so prevalent. It's impossible to talk about it everywhere. I feel like. Also, we just want excuses to talk about One
We
Piece.
just love One
Yeah,
Piece.
that's true. That's really what it is.
Hmm.
You see some of it in Luffy's main story, actually, because you see where like the letter D is really important. Monkey D. Luffy, some of the other ones, and what that D represents, being like anti-government kind of stuff. But you also see where like his grandfather works for the government, and there's certain expectations put on him. He clearly doesn't care about those expectations at all. Like he just wants to be king of the pirates. That's it. Yeah.
But he was supposed to be a great Navy person. That was
That's
his
true. That
that
was his
was his
role.
yeah, his call not calling, but his purpose via his grandfather.
Yeah, yeah. But I feel like it's a very commonplace in One Piece for them to show up at an island and for certain people to be forced into certain roles or to be placed in roles because of others where they feel uncomfortable or where they're subjugated. And Luffy just comes in and busts it up. And he's like, nah, do not care. This isn't right. We're going to fix it. Um, yeah, I feel like pretty prevalent. I'm trying to think of anything specific outside of the nobles who think of themselves as gods.
No, I mean you have the community aspect where like he's finding his role and like I mean some of Confucianism is just like do right, be a good person, like almost having like a moral compass, if you will. And so he, even though he doesn't align with any religious belief, he knows what's good and what's bad.
Yeah. Well, and then there's also the big part. Another one of the main four when we're talking about Confucianism is that communal harmony. So a
Mhm.
lot of the times when him and his crew pull up a place, you'll see the opposite of harmony in the community,
Mhm.
right? The community's in disarray because some dictator came or because this or that, and people are struggling, people are in harm, and weirdly enough, this group of pirates show up, and usually a lot of times when they leave, harmony is kind of restored to the
Mhm.
community.
And yeah, and I mean, I don't know if it's one of the main four, but like justice is a big part of
Yeah,
Confucianism as well. And so, even though Luffy is a pirate, he brings more justice than what the Navy does.
yeah, yeah. And I have to imagine, at the end of the series, there's going to be a lot of the pirates taking down the navy, and that actually restores harmony to the world a little bit because we need a nice happy ending at the end of 5,000 episodes or however
Oh
many it's
my
going to end
gosh,
up being.
so many episodes.
All right. Any other thoughts when it comes to One Piece and Confucianism?
Mm-mm. Nope.
All right. The most obvious one on everyone's mind, Turning Red.
You know, I did not like this movie. I didn't like it at all.
I haven't finished it.
It's not even like the excuse me.
Bless you.
It's not even in like the whole status quo of like why everyone hated it. I just didn't find it entertaining.
Yeah, that's why I didn't finish it. I'm like, it's
Yeah,
not
it didn't
rubbing me the
keep my
wrong way. It's
attention.
just
I
kind of
mean,
boring.
granted, we're not 13 and 12-year-old girls going through like puberty, so it wasn't really made for us,
Yeah, but
but I
if
still
I
didn't
watched
like it.
Hercules or Mulan right now, I'm
You're
going
right.
to enjoy it.
We were gonna enjoy it so much, but this it just was not.
Yeah,
I feel like almost they try to make too much of a statement, and by going a little too far, they lost the entertainment value.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm thinking like even in Kanto. So like, it's not even a nostalgia thing. There are still Disney movies that come out that I'm like, I love these.
Dude,
This
Encanto,
just
we don't
isn't it.
talk about Bruno.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. So
Mhm.
good. Yeah, yeah, but I mean, outside of the stuff about women's monthly periods, all that stuff, it does have a lot of ancestor stuff
Well,
where
they
she's
did run a
explaining
shrine
different things.
too. So
Yep,
they
they
ran a
had the
shrine,
shrine,
so it has like a different type of like they believe in. I can't remember which god it was, but they did believe in some kind of
some kind of god.
deity.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And also they prayed to their ancestors, and
Mhm.
their ancestors had something going on with red pandas for some reason, and then the pandas were like, well, if you think we're cool, we think you're cool, so the pandas blessed the family line or cursed it, depending on how you look at it, I guess.
Right. It makes me think too of like kind of like how Frozen 2 did with their spirits and like kind of like the guardians
Yeah,
of that. It felt very like similar to that. Like
but
as
not
in
as
when
good.
you turn yeah, no, but Frozen 2, great. Pant turning red, boo.
I don't even like Frozen 2 that much. I just didn't dislike it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched it since the first time I saw it, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't go
that's me.
boo,
Yeah, I'm not like that stunk. This I'm like, this was boring.
boo.
I don't like this was an awful movie. I'm just like this was boring. I mean, if
Mhm.
you like it, cool, but I was so bored.
My panda, my choice.
But yeah, does have the ancestor worship there, so I thought we
Mhm.
would give it a quick shout out before moving on to something I find a little more interesting
I cannot
personally.
comment on this. I have not seen it.
So this is a comic book by Alyssa Wong called Spirit World. It's part of DC Comics. I actually have a signed copy right here from Alyssa.
Wow, you're so
Yeah,
cool.
I met her, or sorry, I met them at last year's North Carolina Comic Con, and they were cool. They were fun. It was good meeting them. I liked their personality. I enjoyed their panel. Pastor Will and Ryan Doze, I actually got to interview them for part of Ryan's other podcast, so it was kind of cool.
Oh,
Um,
Pastor Will's visiting next month, so I'll see him.
you're so lucky.
You should come down with
I
the
miss
wifey.
Pastor Will. Anyway, Spirit World. I actually really enjoyed this. I actually only read it because I met the author and thought they were cool and liked their personality. So I was like, let me read their stuff. And I read some short stories and I was like, these are amazing. Then I read some comics. I was like, these are also pretty good. So they quickly became one of my favorite comic book artists. Isn't the right word? Authors, sure. Um, it follows the character, a non-binary character written by a non-binary author. We have Xanth here, who is able to travel to and from the spirit world, thus the name Spirit World. Very on the nose. She actually incorporates some help from John Constantine. So those who are familiar with him, he's pretty prevalent in this comic series, which is awesome. And even though Confucius did not believe in an afterlife, didn't like that kind of stuff, one thing I think he would appreciate from this comic book series is some of the main points. Mind you, Chinese author, a lot of Chinese culture. It very was heavily influenced and portrayed the culture well, I think. That was kind of the goal anyway. Um, but they show honoring the dead was kind of the maybe the moral of the story, you'd say. But yeah, they do a lot of emphasis on that, which again was a sacred thing in Confucius traditions, is to honor those who have gone before you and the dead. That just puts a fun world spin on it, where you can literally see the spirit world and interact with the dead. So fun times.
It's like a Yu Yu Hakusho.
I don't know what that is.
It's an anime with the spirit
I
world.
believe you.
Spirit detective.
Oh, fun. Okay, let's move on to another one that Pang doesn't know anything about, I don't think.
Yay! Nothing about.
The Mandarin, my all-time favorite Marvel supervillain is the Mandarin. Um, we talked some last time about the Shang-Chi in the MCU. Shang-Chi and the Mandarin don't really have the same kind of relationship in the comics at all. So I'm just going to talk about the comic book version that I like. The Mandarin actually lies about his ancestry because of the whole honor thing of where you come from. He plays a lot into magic and dealing with kind of anti-technology stuff. So he very much goes against Iron Man. But he is kind of trying to be a dictator, fulfilling a role, having everybody else fill their roles,
I
and
mean,
trying to
same.
create.
Trying
Yeah,
to be a dictator.
yeah. He's just trying to create a harmonious community that all obey him.
I mean, what's wrong with that? Like, communism right there.
Yeah.
I'm down with
So
that.
that's the Mandarin. No, I enjoyed him. I like his where he's trying to lie about his ancestry so that he can play into people's religious beliefs about the importance of those who came before. Uh, and it's interesting when we think of the MCU version with Shang-Chi, where Shang-Chi is trying to deny, Shang-Chi, and that is, and I think the son of the Mandarin. I try to forget that movie. I did not like it, but that's just because I love the real Mandarin, and they did not do it justice. But whatever. Shang-Chi tried to deny his family's heritage because his dad was a bad guy and all this other stuff. And in the end, in order to truly be victorious, he basically had to learn to own all of his ancestry to truly be who he was for good and not evil, in order to, be successful in what I think is one of the worst MCU movies that a lot of people love. Anyway, that's that. I love the Mandarin. Don't love Shang-Chi. Sorry. Something I don't know anything about time.
Naruto.
Every time I look up
Let's
Confucianism in
go.
anime, Naruto shows up because apparently it has a lot to do with community harmony. I don't know. I know nothing about it. Please
Let's
tell,
go,
enlighten
Naruto.
me.
Let's go, Naruto. This is one of the big three of
Is that like
animes.
is that like a song that they do or
Nope, I
something?
just made it up.
Okay.
But it sounds good, right?
Sure.
Sure. So Naruto, they don't really have like a worship, like or a deity they worship, but Naruto has a thing that he calls it my Nindo way. And so like it's gosh, of course, he's like he pretty much won't like he's true to his word. He won't like break his promises or I think it's legit. I won't go back on my word, something like that. It's been a while since I've seen Naruto, but I do have Kakashi tattooed on my arm. So that's how much I
So
love it.
what's the thing about like apparently he's in a village and there's like disharmony and he ends up like helping them or something? I'm
Yeah,
confused.
so the village, just like it's all the hidden shadow village, so it's no one really knows exactly where it's at. It's a ninja village.
Oh,
And Naruto ends up being a sacrifice to be the vessel of the nine-tailed fox. And so because he is the vessel, he is shunned by the community a lot. And
okay.
so what the communal harmony is, he eventually becomes the hope of the village and the protector of the village and eventually becomes the Hokage, which is kind of like the president, you know what I mean? So he has the community base there. And then you have the right and wrong because you go get your missions, defeat the bad guys. But yeah, definitely the community is big because everyone is like, for the sake of the village, we will do this. For the sake of the village, I will lay down my life.
Ooh.
For
Yeah,
the sake of the
that sounds
village,
very
I'm a
Confucius.
mhm.
Yeah. I'm confused though. Why he went from so he becomes a fox and then he's shunned because he's a fox and then he's accepted?
He's the vessel of the fox. So this
Okay.
fox came in, destroyed the village, has taken countless lives. And the only way to seal the fox it was inside of a baby. And
Okay. So the fox was
Naruto
bad.
was yeah, fox bad. Naruto was the vessel, but because he is the vessel of a demon, he is now ostracized pretty
Okay.
much. And what should have been you would think he would should be the hero. The parents shun him and of course as children follow their parents' example, the kids bullied him.
Okay. So how does he eventually become like accepted and the president?
He finds a mentor and he learns how and he has like so much chakra, which is kind of what makes him powerful. He doesn't
Yeah.
know what to do with it. And so he sucks at everything because he's almost too powerful. He can't control anything. But
Huh.
he starts learning how to control, he starts saving the villages. People start seeing him work hard. It's like, what? This loser is now on par with all this whatnots. And yep, he
Hmm.
becomes the hope of the village.
Hmm.
Yes.
All right. That's fun. I like the for the sake of the village. That's
Yeah.
okay.
People
Yeah,
will
very
die.
Confucius. I get it now.
Mhm. But
All
we
right.
love it. Okay, I can talk about this one too. Yay.
This one we both can. I love everything about the Last Airbender. It does it really in my mind. It does a really good job at showing some Buddhist thought, some Taoist thought, which we talked about this last time as well, and some Confucius thought. I actually felt like the Netflix series made it a lot more obvious some of the Confucius themes.
Mhm.
Because in the Netflix series, they very much are, hey, you are expected to be the avatar. Here are your expectations. And part of what I didn't like about the live action show, spoiler, not really a spoiler because, you've seen it,
Yeah.
the cartoon, but um, it's like they feel like they have to spell it out to you more than the cartoon did. Like the cartoon was made for kids and they just kind of let you
Like we
figure it
figured it
out.
out. Mhm.
Yeah. Whereas the live action is like, we're going to stop and be like, hey, I feel this pressure now. This is what I feel.
It's because we're dumb adults now and we don't want to agree with anything that we don't think of
Oh,
ourselves. That's
that's
why.
yeah, that's
As a
fair.
kid, would you we just like, "All right, sounds good. We like it." Adults, why is this like this? Well, what's the benefits? Well, what's the cause? What's the we just
Yeah,
dumb. We
yeah,
take the
but
fun out of everything.
yeah, that really was part of like what annoyed me is how often they were like, "Hey, I'm going to stop and tell you what I'm feeling right now and why I'm doing the things I'm doing." Whereas in the cartoon, it was like 2 seasons in when you finally figure out that Aang is actually doing a lot of these silly little side things because he's feeling all this pressure and he's trying to escape his role, which again, very Confucius.
Mhm.
Just in live action, they kind of spell it out for you, which makes it a little easier to see.
Yeah. I mean, another Confucius is the Avatar's role is to bring harmony to the world, which is a
Yeah.
very Confucius thing with the four nations.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that one.
Did,
My big one. I want to go through Zuko's story, but before I do, did you have anything that you wanted to highlight with Confucian and
no, I just still feel like Zuko should have gotten with Qatar. And I said what I said.
false? But whatever. Uh,
Go
no,
ahead.
so I find Zuko's story so fascinating. It may be the best in all of fandom to think about Confucianism, because not only he starts off thinking that his role is that he needs to be the next emperor, and having this preconceived idea of what that looks like, and he's going to play that role, whatever it takes, whatever his father tells him, he's going to play that role. That is what Zuko is going to do. And his father says we need to destroy the Avatar. The Avatar, who, mind you, whose whole role is to bring harmony to the world and all of society, right? And through all of this, Zuko fails and fails at being what he's not. And he gets brought down, and he has to break down, and eventually turns to the Avatar side. He sees that the Avatar side is correct and that he's going to help the Avatar bring harmony to the world. And then the ironic thing is, when he does that, Zuko, in fact, does become the next Fire Lord Emperor. And you're like, oh, okay. He actually does find his role. He just has to figure out who he is and be that version of the role. Not his dad, not someone else, but Zuko
But
as Zuko.
you even have some confusionism because the main reason why he wanted to be Fire Lord in the first place wasn't to really protect anything. He just wanted his father's approval, which is
Yeah.
such a big thing in the Asian culture. Is like you want to bring honor to your family, you want that
Honor
acceptance, you
to
want
us
to
all.
honor to us all. Like, and so he only searched so hard for the Avatar and was only playing the role of the villain so he can get back into his father's good graces.
Yeah, yeah. So with Zuko, you really see like all of the four main elements that I wanted to focus on are all in his story, right? Where like he's trying to honor his ancestors and fill his role. So you got both of those. You have him discovering the important thing was to bring harmony to the world. So you have that, and then you have that fourth part of discovering his true self in that final role that he was originally destined for in the first place. So you're just like, wow, it's such a perfect, like, hey, it's just such a perfect example of irony where he still becomes the Fire Lord. And then you also have just like, wow, that is what Confucianism is. That's what it's all about. So I love his story for this particular subject. Yeah. Any other Atla things?
No, he should have been with Qatar. They had a moment.
That's not true. But Appa is the cutest. I'm sorry, Momo. I like you. Appa's cuter.
And the and I kind of wanted Toph to go
No,
with the other guy a little bit. Not like as
I
much, but
I fear for anyone Toph ends up with. She is just too great and too powerful.
she has a girly side. I feel it.
All right. Last one. Do you know anything about the Shanghai Noon, Shanghai Nights movies?
Nope, take it away, Joshua.
I love these films. They're so much fun. A little bit older. I think these might be 90s films. I'm not sure. It might be 2000s. It's where I first learned of Owen Wilson. I love Owen Wilson and his come on, man. But yeah, Shanghai Noon starts is the first film, and then it goes to Shanghai Nights later on. You follow Chon Wing, who is Jackie Chan, and he was one of the Imperial Guards. So, you know, he had a specific role in his culture. He was supposed to bring honor and harmony. The princess was stolen from their country and is brought to America to, of course, the Old West, where Owen Wilson is a cowboy because Owen Wilson just is a cowboy, guys. Come on. So Jackie Chan, Chon Wing shows up and more or less Owen Wilson figures out a princess is involved and money's involved, and him being a cowboy is like, all right, I'm going to help you. So you have cowboy teaming up with Imperial Guard martial artist for kind of a buddy cop almost kind of film. It's a lot of fun. Owen Wilson is, of course, not serious at all, and Jackie Chan's character is very serious. So it leads for some good entertainment value, some fun fight scenes because Jackie Chan's in it. So all around a great movie. But I just wanted to lift it up because Chon Wing is, able to kind of bring harmony, respect his culture. I think he does end up leaving the Imperial Guards by the time Shanghai Nights starts. But yeah, so it has a lot to do with honor and the culture, and it's not a cartoon. I think I really wanted to get one on here that wasn't like a cartoon or comic. I think that was also a big part of it. I wanted to feel like an adult for a little bit.
Just a
That's
wee
all.
bit for like 5 seconds, and
Yeah,
then you're done.
yeah, I'm good now. I'm
Okay.
satisfied. Everybody should watch Shanghai Noon though. It's a great movie.
I do love Jackie Chan.
God, me too. Jackie Chan's so great.
Dude, he's getting so old.
Yeah, I don't like
I'm
that.
not getting old. Jackie's getting old.
Him and Chuck Norris. They're both making me really sad.
Mm-hmm.
I need them to
Jerks.
stop. Yeah.
I know. I thought they were gonna be like Elvis and just always be there.
And this is where we honor those who've gone before us, aka Jackie Chan and Chuck
I will
Norris.
not be okay when Jackie Chan passes.
No, I don't think anyone will.
No.
No, they shouldn't. Neither. Everyone should
Mm-mm.
be just, yeah, devastated.
Mhm.
Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap today's episode up. Thank you guys for just checking in while we talk some nonsense and go through where we see Confucianism and some of the fandoms that we enjoy. Let us know in the comments if you see it in other fandoms or other shows and stuff that you think we should check out. We would love to see it. Of everything mentioned today, Pang, what if someone somehow went through this episode, hasn't seen or read any of the things we talked about today, what would be your one recommendation from today's list?
Mulan, because I have Cricky tattooed on my back.
Are you sure it wouldn't be Turning Red?
No, I hated that one. Hated it. It was so annoying.
Oh man, yeah. I also would not pick Turning Red. Play the Mulan world on Kingdom Hearts 2. No, I'm joking. I
I just
love
listened to the
I
Mulan
love Kingdom Hearts.
soundtrack. I mean, it's
That's true too.
such a vibe.
Bring honor to us all. That actually really is like the Confucianism episode. It's just us singing
You
"Bring honor
bring
to us."
honor to us all.
Man, of all of this, I'm pretty torn because I can't just tell you to check out the Mandarin. Like you can't just go read all of the Mandarin comics of him being a bad guy. I actually, you know what? I'm gonna go with Spirit World with Alyssa Wong. I just think it's a lot of fun. I love John Constantine. I think the characters are fun. Colors are good. It's a good comic. Good read. Check it out. Shanghai Noon's also a good one. I recommend almost all of these except for Turning Red. Really,
Yes, I agree.
yeah, that might actually be the only one I don't recommend on this list. Okay. Anyway, hey, thank you again, patrons, for no one joined us live this time, but you could have. And if you're on YouTube and you wish you could have again told me why I was so dumb for not watching Naruto, or why we're both wrong, and why the Red movie is
The
fantastic.
Red movie.
Yeah, I don't even remember Turning Red, whatever it is. Yeah, if you wish you could have been on here to tell us how stupid we are for not liking Turning Red, uh, join us next time. You can
Hmm.
tell us why we're dumb for something else. It's great. It's a fun
Yeah,
time to tell
I
us why
mean,
we're
we'll
wrong.
figure out something else to be dumb about.
Yeah, we'll throw your comment up and we'll talk to you about it. We
Hmm.
don't mind. All right, guys. Well, again, thank you so much for your time. Please consider rating and reviewing the show on Podchaser, liking and subscribing to the channel. That's always a huge help for us. Also, one very important thing. Remember, we're all a chosen people, a geekdom of priests.